Comment le connaissez-vous?
Are you interested in building a career in the development and humanitarian sector? Then, Strategia Netherlands is the best option for you. We offer training solutions to the United Nations, governments, NGOs and other development organizations worldwide. Make your online application now for Diploma in Monitoring and Evaluation, Diploma in Grant Management, Diploma in Conflict Management, Diploma in Disaster Management, Diploma in Water Sanitation and Hygiene, and many more. The cost for diploma courses is 800 euros, while postgraduate courses cost 1,200 euros. Visit www.strategianetherlands.nl for more information.
Hello, and welcome everyone to today's webinar. My name is Charlotte Mwambui and I work with Strategia Netherlands. And I welcome you officially to today's webinar. We have 1 hour into this webinar. And even as we continue, I would like to know where you are joining us from. And you can put it in the chat or you can raise your hand and you'll be unmuted. At least 5 people can tell us where they're joining us from and what sector they are into. Is it health? Is it a monitoring and evaluation, or what you do? So you can start putting it in the chat, or we can have a few people raise their hands so that they can tell us. Anyone? Not seeing any activity in the chats yet.
Sorry, the chat is disabled.
Sorry, Gina. Okay, someone can raise their hand. Right. Yes. So please put in the chat where you're joining us from and what you, which sector you're in, whether it's in health, it's in M&D, HR, or whatever. So I'm seeing quite a few coming in. Pakistan, he's in monitoring, evaluation, and learning. That is Naik Mohammed. There is Joris from Belgium, public health evaluation. That's nice. From Denmark, we have a new humanitarian development aid. That is Leontina. Forgive me if I pronounce your name badly. Benjamin Sereboa from Ghana. He's into M&D. That's very nice. We have Enas from Jordan, local development. Mohammed Salim from Iraq, and he's into monitoring and evaluation. That's really nice. Welcome everyone. I can see we are from all over. Carlos from Paiva is from Carlos Paiva from Portugal. Didn't tell us what he's doing. All right, good. Keep them coming. I'm glad we have a lot of M&D people here. We have people from social policy, lots of M&D coming in. Martina, we recognize all of you and welcome so much into today's webinar. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening from anywhere you're joining us from. and welcome to today's webinar. Now that we have known that we are into all these M&D and community development, I would like to know, what have you, when you think of AI, yeah, what feeling do you get? AI and M&D, what do you, is it a feeling of, you know, is it a sigh of relief, or is it anxiety that it's going to take our jobs? How do you feel? Let me see. I'm still seeing people telling me where they're coming from. How do you feel when you think of M&D and monitoring and evaluation? What's the feeling? Is it going to take our jobs? Yet to get some responses on that. Efficiency, good. AI will easy our jobs. That's interesting, nice. Feeling is mixed. Yes, I understand. All right, it is good. I feel AI will make M&D easier and accessible to all. Yeah, so that's why we are here today, this 1 hour, to be able to know, is AI good? What will it be able to help us in M&D? And will it be of good? Is it a good thing or is it not a good thing? Okay, all right. So I want to know, even as you continue, because yeah, it will ease our work. M&D feels proactive. Handling big data easily, good. I can see your charts, I can see your feeling. Now, I would like to know, what are your expectations for this meeting? So you have seen that today we are handling AI in M&D. What do you want? What is your objective towards the end of this meeting? Our project has many components and the follow-up is so challenging. AI won't replace us. It will refine our role. I would love for AI to handle the day-to-day activities tracking in order for our M&D specialists can render efficient reporting. Thank you so much, Enas. I have seen that. That's interesting. Now, what are your expectations? Because as M&D practitioners, we need to have clear objectives, and what do you want to achieve at the end of this lesson? Can we see them coming? Learn how we can use AI efficiently. How does artificial intelligence affect management? I know Dr. Wangari is listening, and she'll take note of that. To learn how to use AI effectively for analyzing complex data. Right. Insight in how we can harness AI to enhance productivity and enhance efficiency. Okay, where and how we can use AI in our project. So this is, we are going to learn all this. Although we know that we just have an hour or less, because we are already into the hour. So we might, AI and M&D is quite huge. We might not really be able to, tick and check every box that you are raising. However, we will try as much as possible to be able to handle all these. Would like to learn about AI tools that are proven. It feels like there's so much out there, you don't know where to start. I understand, Susan, I understand your feeling. All right, let me just get a glimpse of what AI tools have you used. Have you been into AI already at your place of work, and what AI tools have you used so far? Can AI help us in analyzing qualitative data? Interesting. That's one thing that always raises questions. What are the different AI tools? So what tools have you used at your places of work, or whatever you're doing? What tools have you used? To understand, people want to learn those tools. I'm seeing ChatGPT, Copilot, ChatGPT is coming out a lot. ChatGPT, how can AI contribute to human development economically? Azure, So there's a lot of Copilot, ChatGPT, Azure, I'm seeing DeepSeek, OpenAI, Meta AI, all right, Gemini, All right, I'm seeing them coming. Complexity, interesting. Opus AI, Almetrics, good. So I'm seeing people here who are already incorporating AI into their tools, I mean, into their day-to-day work. And so Perplexity is coming in a lot. So we are seeing people who are already aware of this topic. And so it's just about, getting to understand better how this fits into our daily work. So I welcome you all to be able to sit and, get ready to learn and to unlearn and to relearn anything that is going to be taught. So I want to introduce our guest. Our guest is Dr. Joyce Wangari Ngugi. I bet you have heard of her. She is a consultant clinical and counseling psychologist and a research mentor at Gwira. She has a lot of knowledge into this matter, and she has been part of us for some few webinars that in the past. So a lot of about her she will mention herself, but let me take this opportunity to welcome Dr. Joyce. Dr. Joyce, you are welcome. You are free to, take it up and, tell us more. And then at the end of this, at the end of the session, we are going to have a Q&A so that perhaps there's any question that might have arose or any question that may not have been answered, that will be the opportunity for us to ask Dr. Wangari and myself, and we will try our best to tackle all the questions as they come. So welcome, Dr. Wangari, and every other person to this webinar. Dr. Wangari, go ahead.
Thank you so much for this wonderful, lovely meeting. Always a pleasure to join in the convening of this family, the Strategia Netherlands family. And this should be my probably now 7th webinar. I've done 6 webinars before. And shortly, I'm just sharing some links of what we will be using today. A lot of times our participants ask, where are the slides? Can we get a copy of the slides? So I decided, since it's a highly practical workshop, to just share the slides up front at the beginning. So you are able to view, but not to download. And that's because of also the things we'll be discussing about copyright, especially when it comes to AI matters. So I like the question you asked earlier, my colleague Charlotte, and you've done a lot of work in humanitarian training on which tools people have used. And I'm just going to also share a list of some tools. Hopefully we get to only sample some few of the list, and this is not by any means exhaustive. I also saw in the chat a couple of people asking, can we get a list? And there's also someone else who said they're very overwhelmed. It seems like the AI world is busting. The apps, the tools, the platforms are being created by the second. And so some people feeling overwhelmed and not knowing exactly how to choose. We will be talking about how exactly do you select the right M&E tool for your own work. And I also would like to share, just for your own consumption at your own time, a couple of webinars I've done. I said I've done 6 before with this esteemed platform. And so that helps with people who have basic questions. I am very sure we have a mixed audience. The target audience of this webinar obviously was all of you, humanitarian professionals, M&D, people who are doing work in even grant management, all kinds of, I think we also have data analysts in the house. So this is a great mixed audience, and we are so glad to host you. So for those who may not have just basic understanding on M&E, I'm also shortly just sharing some past webinars I have done. And I think that will be in your own free time. You can watch them. They're all obviously posted in our Strategia Netherlands YouTube page. So all of these are there. I'm just posting for the sake of those who might want to ask more basic questions about M&D. We will be talking about AI. And of course, all of you have an idea what AI is, but maybe I'm going to ask just one last question, which is to everybody to type in the chat. Can you tell me what AI is called in your mother tongue? Okay, so it would be nice to know your mother tongue, what your mother tongue is, and what is the name of AI in your mother tongue language. Do you know what AI is called in your mother tongue? Let's see in the chat. I just want to see if people are still Very much. Okay. Oh, some I cannot read because that's Arabic, Mohammed Salim, but artificial intelligence here in Dutch. However, I can use AI tools to actually get how that is pronounced in Arabic if I want. Maranyane, I wish I knew this languages, what languages they are. Mas Nuiza Hanat, Croatian. Okay, thank you for mentioning the language. Umejen Tna intelligentsia. Of course, I will be butchering your languages. French intelligence artificielle. French, Elon Musk is the second name of AI. Okay, that's funny. Thank you, Ernest. Garadka, Makmalka, that's Somali. Man-made observer, okay. Maskaxda, Makmalka. So it seems we also could probably already have ChatGPT in these languages. And obviously it is because people are uploading a lot of stuff on websites, including in our native languages. But I was waiting to see if there's any other language, what AI is called in your mother tongue. Keep them coming. I'm very happy to see the chats, and I'll be taking note of that. It's always nice to learn something new every day. I've also just posted an article I did in the past. So let me now take us through for this very, very brief time that we have together, what my thoughts are on AI and where we can really leverage as humanitarian professionals. Somebody even asked about how to continue the work of M&D and advance it using AI. So that's exactly what we are going to do in the next couple minutes. And then this will be more like opening up the conversation, because we can't honestly cover everything there is to cover in AI, but we will cover the basics. So I hope you can see my slides okay. So my email is joyce.w.ngugi@gmail.com, and happy to facilitate this webinar. This is also not the first webinar on AI under Strategia Netherlands. We've had several others. I think there was the last webinar on AI was on qualitative. So the person who asked the question on qualitative, please go to the Strategia Netherlands YouTube page and just watch that, because it delved deeper. Ours will be more broader. I'll start with a lot more of the philosophy, and then we'll go into some practical, hopefully some demos. All right, so obviously we want to understand some core concepts, explore real-world applications, identify opportunities and challenges, and discuss some ethical and practical considerations. And thank you all for mentioning the AI tools that you have used and your expectations for this webinar. So my current role in the field of M&D is doing lots of trainings. The last training I did was actually in person at Capacity Africa. I've also been doing a lot of grant management and M&D work for NGOs and CBOs. I am a psychologist in my core training, so I'm also highly interested in how the mindset shift is happening for people in the AI age. Now, if any of you have children that were born this year, you know that they are in the newest generation called the beta generation, and these are AI natives. Okay, so every one of us are immigrants into the AI age, or the age of AI, but those people who are born this year, 2025, going forward are the beta generation. And of course, in Africa, we know, I'm based in Kenya, and we know in Africa, internet arrived in 1994. So in case you were born before the year 1994, again, you are an immigrant into the tech age. So if any of you were born in the year 1994 going forward, at least you are inside of the tech age. But AI is new to all of us. We are now learning. You remember when we were young, those of us who were born before 1994, there was a book called The Yellow Pages. If you wanted to locate any office or a business address, you would go to a huge printed book called The Yellow Pages. But now, with the advent of Google, everything became easier. Now with AI, things are exponentially growing, and it's getting much easier to locate information from different cloud sources. So it's really interesting. AI is a field of knowledge, or the study of how computers can solve problems by imitating human intelligence. Of course, there are very many subsets of AI. Some people have been said to specialize in AI and ML. Now, that would be the same as saying I love cars and car engines. Remember that ML or machine learning is just a subset of artificial intelligence, and there are several other subsets. We talk about deep learning and so on and so forth. I didn't want to go so deep into the practical or the more, technical aspects of the subsets of AI. But the idea is that it involves tasks such as learning, reasoning, and natural communication. So of course, AI mimics or tries to replicate what the human brain would do. And how is that different from traditional software? For example, all of us are familiar with Excel. It is a tool people have grown up using. It's the go-to choice in spreadsheet software for users of all our different ages, background, and professions. So what's the difference between Microsoft Excel and an AI tool, for example, or an AI model? The difference is that while traditional softwares like Excel follow fixed instructions, AI has the ability to learn, adapt, and make decisions based on the data it processes. So that is a flexibility that allows AI to solve complex problems. For example, let's take the analogy of two vehicles. In Kenya, there was once a slogan run by the Toyota company, and it was a very catchy slogan that made people trust the brand of Toyota because the advertisement said, the car in front is always a Toyota. But picture this, if I swapped a Toyota vehicle with a Ferrari for you, it can still move from point A to point B, right? But a Ferrari has all these enhancement features. The minute you sit, there's like more installations in the vehicle that makes for a more superior ride. That's the reason why a Ferrari will almost always be more expensive than a Toyota, okay? So that's just an analogy to compare AI with our traditional softwares. Now, when we talk about large language models or LLMs, if you used AI and typed United States off, how does exactly AI work? It works with algorithms and probabilities. So the most usual expected word will be America, definitely not pizza, because AI uses a data set that's already existing to predict what would be the next word in a sequence. So of course, we all know what monitoring and evaluation is. And in monitoring, we have this continuous process of tracking projects, plans, objectives, and we do data collection and analysis to adjust in the project. And for evaluation is a periodic assessment, maybe midterm or at the end to see the effectiveness and impact of a project. That's just a refresher. So some myths and facts about AI. AI is all about automation, efficiency, speed, predictive analytics, accuracy, hopefully, and reducing the bias and adding the scale. Okay. However, AI is not magic. It's not a solution for all problems, and especially not for all data types. A couple of people have asked how effective AI is for qualitative data. And the actual answer is that it depends on how specifically you prompt the responses you'd like to get. When you're doing a thematic analysis, for example, using ChatGPT, hopefully we'll have practical example on ChatGPT to do that so that we can see how to more specifically do prompt engineering. The more specific the question is, the more specific the answer, but it's not always free of bias and it's not always perfectly accurate. AI is also not an excuse for laziness. You've seen a lot of people calling out people, even in social media groups, and saying, oh, this message looks like it was ChatGPT generated, and it looks like there has been a dampening or a stupefaction of, human intelligence because some people are using AI and not critically thinking about the output before they publish or deploy the AI results or the AI outcomes. So AI will not replace you. I know earlier our moderator had asked those people who are scared about whether AI will take over all the jobs. It is not a replacement for human judgment or human connection. So, of course, we can use AI in all of the M&E stages, which are data collection, data analysis, report compilation or synthesis, and the actual reporting or dissemination stage, and obviously project decision making. when we're talking about a go or no go decision on a project, whether to scale it, whether to, add some adjustments to a project, of course, we can use AI tools to make it more efficient, accurate, scalable, and insightful. So, what are some AI tools across the M&D stages? For example, in humanitarian work, we need to do data collection and analysis using NLP. NLP is natural language processing. So if we want to analyze open-ended survey responses, this is definitely a qualitative task, and we will be using NLP tools in order to chunk or thematize our responses. And these AI-powered mobile data collection tools, a lot of our existing apps now have an embedded feature, an embedded tool. Something as simple as a social media app like X. One of us made a joke in the chat and talked about Elon Musk being the other name for AI. But the truth is, X does have, an AI feature, and I'm sure you all know what it's called. It starts with G. If you don't know that, you can check it up. And obviously, even in X, we are able to get, AI tools that help to further analyze information. Then, of course, in the other stage of remote monitoring, especially in humanitarian work in insecure or hard to reach areas, you can use AI for satellite imagery, social media analysis. Then we talk about predictive analytics. This is really a game changer. We are now having a shift in the way AI is helping us with modeling and resource allocation and early warning systems. And then feedback and accountability mechanisms, a chatbot, sentiment analysis. Even in this particular tool called Zoom, which we are all using at this time, there is AI embedded features. If you would like translation, nowadays Zoom does have translation and many other features, polling, and so on and so forth. So AI can be implemented in our workflows. And how exactly can we do that? So here are the steps for those who are asking. Somebody asked this specific question, exactly how do we implement AI in our current M&D? That must be someone who's already doing program work. Maybe you're a program manager somewhere. You're wondering exactly how to go about that. So the steps are, number one, identify the pain points. Where would you like to do some monitoring or evaluation? Then step number two, choose appropriate AI solutions. Number three, collaborate with data or tech partners. This part is really important, and we shall see, especially because of the ethical considerations. Build staff capacity. So in case you are an owner of a humanitarian organization or you have a team of collaborators, including external partners, it would be nice to also invite them to trainings such as those offered by Strategia Netherlands. We do have an array of certificate and diploma programs, as you all know, so that you build the staff capacity so that the human aspects are growing, just like the use of AI tools. And then the idea of piloting, iterating, and scaling. Now, when we say iterate, we mean the back and forth procedure of always counter-checking and learning and growing. And now we have to think about ethical, technical, and legal perspectives. And there's so many resources I'm going to have you look at. For example, AI for D, AI for Development, UN Global Pulse, the OCHA Center for Humanitarian Data. Those are really good resources. We say ignorance is no defense. So you must know the law and what is governing AI tools. So are you now an AI augmented evaluator? I'm sure some of you who were thinking about whether you know anything about AI, I'm sure now you can say you have an idea about what AI is, because this is from your list of what you typed in the chat. A lot of you have mentioned ChatGPT, and we'll probably do a little demo with the ChatGPT. Google Notebook, LM. Nowadays, you can take an entire journal article and put it in this software, and this is so fantastic. It can change it into a podcast. Can you imagine? And so what would be the popular press or a more relatable style of understanding a technical scientific article can now be done in seconds just by requesting Notebook LM to actually convert a scientific journal article into a podcast. And so you can even have two characters conversing about a journal article. It makes it very much easier for people who have to go through lots of text. If any of you are students, it would also be nice to know if any of you are lifelong learners and you have no time to read a lot of scientific, articles, especially if you need to do, research alongside your M&E work. So AI tools that are embedded in spreadsheets, Gemini for Google Sheets, also called AI enhanced sheets. So if you open your Google Sheets, especially if you're having, the later versions, you will find AI is already embedded. It's already there. So Gemini is our AI, magic. And now we can exponentially work with data. Then we have Copilot. Some of you already mentioned you use Copilot to do all kinds of summaries, including if you are looking at terms and conditions or privacy policies of any of the AI apps, you can just take them and have them summarized by ChatGPT and Copilot. And we shall talk about why it's very important for all of us to always, be aware of terms and conditions and also the privacy policy of AI tools. Canva.com, I'm sure most of you have heard of Canva before. This is a very wonderful tool for, again, deploying a lot of our, text material into either pictorial or video formats. And then we have Whisk. Whisk is very interesting. You can easily create a cartoon-like animation out of anything that you want summarized. And this is very good, especially at the dissemination stage of your projects, because then you need to talk to diverse audiences. Some of them are not very technical or literate. So you want these policy briefs put in more understandable formats. Then we have SciSpace, Killbot, Site AI, Litmaps. These are for a lot of us doing work with scientific journal articles. And of course, some of them are not free to access. I think for Killbot, you get just a time limited free access. And then after a while, you have to pay. That's because of the governance and the ownership of these apps. So not all of these are free, but most of the ones I've written here are actually free. They're already embedded and they help you, to do your work much better, much easier. GPT Creator or GPT Builder. Now, that's a very interesting one. Did you know you can create your own GPT? Especially if you have proprietary information. For example, I ran the largest jobs group with over 20,000 members. And in that jobs group, I have like very sensitive information, but I want to monitor and evaluate, the progress of my providers over the course of their career. So I can create my own GPT that actually analyzes more of what I want to be proprietary. And that means I can pay to the software developers to get my own exclusive access. And that's very interesting. So on your own free time, I'd like you to check out all these other, apps. We might just not have time to go through all of them. The apps that you already are using, for example, in data collection are like Kobo Toolbox. And nowadays you have a plugin that is an AI tool. Kobo Toolbox now has a machine learning plugged into the app. Then we have Power BI, which is very good with data visualization, and their AI insights. So as I said earlier, we may not have time to go through all this, but it would be nice for you to also type in the chat any other AI tools that are very, very commonly used, that you've commonly used in your own work, that help you to do M&E humanitarian work better. So just very quickly to specify in each stage, in data collection, NLP allows AI to analyze qualitative data. For example, open-ended surveys, social media posts. I'd already mentioned this, especially because we want to get the key themes and sentiments. So we can improve the accuracy and identify and correct errors or inconsistencies. However, one of the criticisms is that it will mostly be just focusing on the majority of the views, because our humanitarian work may also need us to include people who are more marginalized. You find people who are in the fringes of sentiment or people who are excluded from the otherwise majority view. may not fully capture that, you know. So those are some of, unless of course we prompt the AI. So those are some of the challenges. A fun fact just about data collection is that during COVID, we had a humanitarian crisis across the world. And as you know, there was a problem with the government figures. If you remember very well, there was a lot of controversy. And here, I don't have any personal problem with Excel, but this is a true fact, something that happened, is that the Excel spreadsheet has a limitation. Its data size can only hold up to 65,536 rows. This was not enough for the full data set. So in the year 2020, which if you remember is when COVID was declared across the globe, the UK Health Agency cut off thousands of results because of the limitations of Excel. How do you think AI could have come in to assist us if these AI tools were already functioning in the year 2020? Remember, 2020 is just the other day. It's about like only 4 or 5 years ago. I feel like the difference between our traditional software and AI is that AI can access cloud data directly. So the lesson here is that always choose the right tool for the right data size, okay? Of course, the UK government underreported cases by over 16,000, all right? Because all these other results were lost because Excel had a limit. So another major advantage of AI is data analysis. It's faster, especially predictive analysis. It's going to be a game changer, providing valuable insights for future planning based on historical data. And then real-time monitoring and feedback, that's very important because then it allows timely adjustments. So for example, AI-powered dashboards can give you a visual representation of the key performance indicators in your project. So you get faster feedback loops and more adaptive project management. Improved decision-making, that goes without saying, because once AI has helped identify all the different areas that need optimization, of course, then we get a deeper understanding and more targeted interventions. So ethical considerations are very critical. AI has a benefit in humanitarian work. It indirectly solves the crisis by optimizing access and impact. Imagine, especially in the global south, where there is still very poor infrastructure. There are places without adequate internet and electricity, and how we use AI is very interesting. I've been in the field work where we will take up a lot of videos, and then when the electricity is back, for example, the following day, we will be able to then upload these videos onto the AI apps and process them. So even when there are inequalities, we can use AI to sort of leapfrog and almost it brings equity in that sense. Also, at a personal level, the calculations that would have been done manually, a lot of us I did my doctorate and graduated 3 years ago, but I'll tell you that if AI was already existing by the time I was starting my doctorate, I would have not been so burnt out because I ended up doing a lot of manual work. Now with AI, I would have been more efficient. And of course, whenever you are a student and you use AI to do your work, you must quote and attribute, the sources to AI sources. That is one of the major ethical issues we are having with our student populations. And the critical thinking is one of the major problems. People are actually just using AI to generate papers, but they're not doing the work, but it's still very, very efficient, even for those people in the field doing M&D work, because it improves efficiency. So you won't be so burnt out, especially when you have new complex data to integrate, and you can give a formula, you can give a framework, and it can be auto-generated in a model almost in seconds. So there are many ethical challenges like data privacy. Recently, I'm sure you've seen this, But the OpenAI CEO has come out to say that if you're using ChatGPT, it can be used against you in a court of law. I'm sure you've all seen that story. If you haven't, you can check it out. And he says he regrets it, but it's not very safe. A lot of us are using ChatGPT, to generate conversations, which, can be then taken to a court of law, and you can be sued for what you typed in your logged in account for your ChatGPT. So just note that. Algorithmic bias, we talk about garbage in, garbage out, or GIGO. So as I said earlier, there is a potential for misuse in inequality, for example, deepening the digital divide. When we have more people with technology, the coverage for mobile internet now in the globe is quite high. I think in Kenya, it's about 75% of people do own a mobile phone that's a, smartphone. It's enabled. But then if we still don't have more people learning AI, are we then creating a chasm or a gap? So transparency is still a major issue because the governance is still catching up with the technology. We need more constitutions and ethical codes to resolve conflicts, and the potential to combat or scale systemic injustice still comes down to humans. So, for example, in a risk distribution prediction model, there would be bias in data and models, privacy and data protection, AI explainability and trust. Can we trust AI to tell us who needs the aid distributed first or soonest? We know the crisis that's happening in the world today in Gaza. And not that there's any political position I'm trying to expand here, but our AI tools may or may not be able to accurately tell us in a very objective way, because there's the whole issue of local context and inclusion. When you collect a few volunteers and poll them, what is the agenda and age group? Who are the ones most likely, going to arrive, into the technology to give you information? And who controls the technology anyway? Those are some of the questions to ask. And so here's a quick self-reflection guide checklist I came up with for your own transformation in AI. The first part is changing. So we always talk about knowledge, skills, attitudes, and practices. So how can we change our knowledge on how we monitor and evaluate? How can we increase the most critical skill in the AI age, which is critical thinking? How can we shift our paradigm and mindset and attitude to more anticipatory and instead of reactive? How can we practice more AI-informed empowerment evaluation? Then things to watch out for are some risks like the ethics, over-reliance, also called stupefaction, attribution of expertise. Like I said earlier, if you use AI tools, you better just acknowledge that you ran a prompt on ChatGPT and that's where you got your information from. Data privacy, transparency, continuously upskilling, being dynamic. And what's the future? We're going to be having very hyper-personalized learning paths, more automation and proctoring. I might be replaced with an AI called teacher or a chatbot. You may not be coming in live to speak to a live trainer in the near future. You can always find all this information on your own on the internet, perhaps. Predictive analytics, which is a very big part. Then, of course, piloting, upskilling, governance, and scaling up. So those are some of the main things you need to ask yourself in your own space at a personal level on AI matters. So critical thinking, just a few highlights as I finish. I'd like to refer you to read these 3 books. They are on Amazon. It's easy for you to get them online. The first book tells you the most important critical thinking habit is to make judgments, not just opinions. So when you're chatting with people, try to be more factual. And this book by Daniel Kahneman called Thinking Fast and Slow will help you a lot with that. Also use mental models to clarify your thinking. And there's a book called Super Thinking just on that. Reflect, don't react, okay? So there's a book called The Art of Thinking Clearly. These are very important critical thinking habits that are still missing. Some studies are already showing decline in attention, critical thinking, and overall intelligence, including of school children, because of use or overuse or misuse of technology. So AI is a vehicle. We can use it for good and bad. As I said, it's not an excuse for laziness. Decide when and how to use it, and do not harm anybody while using AI. So as I said earlier, do check out how to create your own GPT creator or builder. And do remember the principles of fairness, data protection and privacy, sustainability, human oversight, no harm, responsibility and accountability, security, and adaptive collaboration between governance and multi-stakeholder teams. So I'll not go so much into the proof of concept and the piloting, but just at a bare minimum, how do you check out an AI app? What are the two things you look at? You only look at, is it safe and is it effective? So remember, not all tools are made for good. There's a lot of people doing negative work. There are also unintentionally negative uses of AI. For example, AI has been said to sometimes mislead, okay? There's something called AI hallucinations. So because it's not perfect, and it depends on the information that is uploaded. There's a very classic case of a prompt that somebody ran on AI that said, show me all the sides of the moon. Now, you know that that's a more philosophical question than a literal question. How many sides does the moon have? So AI did not lie, but it tried to answer the question as best as it could. And, you know, it generated all these different images of the moon that have been captured from the different angles. But how many sides are all sides of the moon? So you do realize that you also have to engage your critical thinking as you use this. Now, this is an interesting picture. I brought it here because the aspects of humanitarian work have to do with the reality, which is inequality. And you can see from the diagram that we can move from that to equality and even better equity. And then the best is justice, where everybody has full access because of technology. So as I finish, will AI replace you? The answer is no. However, humans who use AI will replace humans who don't. This is a quote by Fei Li. And AI tries to emulate but cannot replicate human emotions. It knows stuff, but it does not understand stuff. So for you, takeaway would be to build relationships with people and use your rich knowledge map of experience, skills, and real-time nuanced human connection. For example, AI can generate a movie if you give it prompts. And you can say there is a movie that AI has generated as close to the prompts that you have given. However, you as a human being can watch the same movie, but in the backdrop of a moonlight sky and in a very beautiful romantic scenery, something that AI cannot exactly replicate the feeling of it, okay? So we are still in the early stages of AI development, and at the moment, we have more of the subset of AI called narrow AI, which is completely dependent on how specific your prompt is. So always watch out for AI hallucinations. Now, there are only three things AI cannot do. It cannot feel emotions. For example, love, empathy, and so on. There's nothing completely new with AI. There's no creative discovery. It can take informations from databases and rearrange algorithms and reorganize them, but nothing completely new under the sun. And also moral choice. For example, transparency. That is something that requires human input. In conclusion, AI is transforming M&D by automating tasks, improving deeper insights, enabling more real-time and adaptive project management. You can be smarter than ChatGPT by embracing the emerging technology, but also critically thinking through it all the time. So we know that AI is very good for automation, scalability, reducing errors, but what we need to remember is that it enhances, not replace, any key traditional softwares. So I'm now happy to take any questions, and I'll be graciously able to answer as I am enabled. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wangari. That was very informative. Now, we had some some few questions coming up while you were presenting, and some which you have already answered. For example, plagiarism, which we have talked about and said that you definitely need to quote once you have used AI to, do your research. You need to state clearly and do the references. Otherwise, it might be a problem. There was an answer about global layoffs that are happening, and someone is insinuating that that is because of AI, which I think you have also answered with your last statement, that humans who are not using AI may be replaced by humans who are using AI. So I think I can attribute that to that. Then finally, even before I start taking hands up, how can we mutualize and organize policy? How can we mutualize organization policy on data management? Dr. Wangari, do you want to take that up? How can we mutualize and organize policy on data management?
No, thank you so much. That's a very good question. So obviously what we are having is a current ongoing controversial debate about organizational policies on data management. In the global north, the GDPR has been established for quite some time, and that is the Global Data Protection Regulations. Now, what happened as a result of the fact that most funding is still coming from the global north to the global south is that the global south has had to catch up with data management laws. For example, in Kenya, I can talk about Kenya because that's where I'm a citizen, is that there's a new office for data protection, and there's actually a new law for data protection. It's relatively new and not well understood. And these data protection laws are in response to the many stringent data protection requests and almost ultimatums coming from the funding sources. So what we are having is a situation of humanitarian organizations in the global south now just starting to come together. That's why I sent a list of resources in the slides for you to read through in the OCHA and others. If your country already does not have data protection laws, just know it is coming. And the more laws that are going to be coming in, the more litigations we're also expecting. So just to be very aware and very careful on the use of AI in order to continue the benefits and minimize the harm as much as possible. As organizations, we must come up with terms of service. We must come up with privacy notices. Even when you have a Google form, you've seen some Google forms are better written than others. Even if you're doing a survey, you just have to have a disclaimer where you recognize and inform participants who are filling the Google form that you are asking their permission for how you're going to use this data. Otherwise, you are at risk of being sued. Thank you for that question.
Thank you so much for handling that. There's one that was asking on tools to use for real-time monitoring.
Yes,
so I will say that. Yes, you can go ahead, Dr. Angari.
Yeah, so I was going to say I have shared a list of tools for real-time monitoring, and I said because in the interest of time, we're not able to do that. It's easy for you to go on YouTube and self-teach on any of the tools in case you don't know. I promised if we have a minute, we can even do ChatGPT. Remember, some versions of ChatGPT you can prompt them to even generate simple visualizations of your data so that you can monitor data over time. So because most of you mentioned you've already used ChatGPT, but I keep wondering, to what extent have you used ChatGPT really in your monitoring? For example, do you use ChatGPT only to generate ideas, or have you learned about there's more? There's actually more that ChatGPT can give you. ChatGPT nowadays even has a translate version. Like I noticed we are multilingual on this call. We have very many people from different parts of the world. Therefore, if you want the entire webinar translated into your language of choice now, it is possible. So in monitoring of projects, ChatGPT is something you can prompt, and you can even get more than what the traditional use so far of ChatGPT has been. It's not just about generating ideas on ChatGPT by prompting simple questions. It's also, you can get much more, including visualizations. I hope I've answered you.
Yes, and I also would like to add that depending on what exactly you want, if you want to create slides, there are different AI tools that you can use for that. If you want predictive analytics, there are different tools you can use for that. It really depends what kind of real-time monitoring you want to do. So it will determine what kind of tool. So I think even with the AI, you need to understand what tools to use where, so that it can be able to make your work even more efficient. Do we have any hands so that you can at least hear your voices? Someone with any question? I'm not seeing any hands yet. Okay, let me check. Let me check if there's anyone with a hand who really wants to talk and ask a question even as you wind up. So it has been shared that the PPTs, some of you are asking for the PPTs, they will be shared, and also the recording will be on YouTube. On Strategia Netherlands YouTube page. So I'm seeing one hand. You can go ahead and ask, unmute. You can unmute, and Ebere Okafo, you can unmute and ask your question. Okay. Seems if you're talking, we cannot hear you. Any other person with a question? You can unmute and ask, because I'm not seeing anything on the chat. Someone is asking about
Hello,
AI. All right.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Go ahead.
Oh, yes. Yes, thanks to you and the presenter. I just wanted to ask the presenter something again. She did talk about AI, but I was also wondering, as M&E professionals like some of us are, how best do we... So, okay, let me just make it more personal. So I want to know more about AI, and I want to be able to integrate it into M&E. How best do I do it? So I know that so far right now I'm able to use, when I'm doing my research, I'm able to use ChatGPT, for instance, to kind of analyze some data to help me get trends and patterns quite easily. Now beyond that, I think there's more that I can do as M&E with AI, because if AI is not going to replace me, then I as well make AI my best friend, right? So how do I get to that point where I use AI? How do I get the best out of AI? Do I need to take more courses? What are those courses that I need to take, and how will it help me? So I think I'm still struggling a lot with how I can use it, but maybe you can also help me. So how best can I get to use AI better than I'm doing? I think that's my question.
Yeah, thank you so much for the question and for your confession that you're using GPT, also called chat. That's wonderful. And obviously, you've already answered a bit of it. Getting curious is the first step, and there's a lot of free trainings by Google and Microsoft. So because they have set camp in the Global South, they are really currently mobilizing a lot of human capacity in the same. So you'll find a lot of information freely uploaded on YouTube, also live training courses. So that is one way. But another way is to just explore your current other applications aside from ChatGPT. For example, do you use Google Sheets? So if you're doing any kind of quantitative work, you will just discover that there is Gemini, and there is a tab actually called, AI Enhanced Sheets. And with Gemini, which is already embedded there, you only just need to locate AI. It's like a buddy, that helps you to do things in a cooler and faster way. And so that you now understand and become aware by practically applying these, tools. I have listed about 12 tools, and I'm wondering, the person who asked, how many of the 12, aside from ChatGPT, you have used in the past. So in a nutshell, in one word, my answer is double. So I'm going to write that down in the chat. DABBLE. Double means just start using AI, just start being aware that it's already there. If any of you use a simple app called WhatsApp for social media, chat, you'll notice that they now added an AI chatbot called Meta AI. So even if you are just on WhatsApp, if you put the @ sign, suddenly Meta AI is there, ready to answer questions and giving suggestions for all kinds of things. So double is the word. Are you in reporting and dissemination, where you need to visualize? And if you don't know, you can simply prompt your ChatGPT. So a lot of this knowledge that we are looking for is already out there. We just need to locate and find. I'm finding a lot of the questions in the chat are about, very literal, specific requests, which you can literally enter into the internet and get, the answer. So I have seen quite a lot of questions that are quite about factual information. Yeah. So I'll advise each one of you to be lifelong learners and to be more proactive in going out there and finding the answers by just entering them in the internet. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, because of time, Monday professionals and other professionals, you may not be able to take all the questions, unfortunately. However, I want to bring on board Doreen, my colleague, who will be able to take us through some of the courses we have. And then after which you can follow up with the conversation maybe on our website and also on YouTube. Thank you so much. Doreen?
Thank you very much. My name is Doreen, training manager and a representative of Strategy Netherlands. Just to give a summary of who we are. Okay. Strategy Netherlands is an organization or a management that provides training, consultancy to humanitarian and development to the organizations worldwide. And what makes us achieve this? So we achieve this through developing and implementing high quality consultancy projects and delivering innovative capacity building solutions to United Nations, government, and non-government organizations. So when you look at our organization, it is an online-based institution that provides online courses, and we have these courses in 3 levels. When we talk about the 3 levels, we have the PGD. So these are the courses that we provide, and we provide them in 3 levels. That is, we have the certificates, and the certificate takes 3 months. And within those 3 months, you are able to do 3 modules. We have 3 assignments and 1 final exam. Then we have diploma. Diploma takes 6 months. And during this time, you are able to undertake 6 modules, 6 assignments, 1 final exam, that such paper. For this is 1,000 euros. Then finally, we have the PGD, that is postgraduate diploma, duration of 12 months. And during this period, you are able to do 8 modules. We have 8 assignments, 1 final exam, and 1 research paper. This is at a price of 1,500 euros. Here at Strategia Netherlands, we have a team of very qualified lecturers, training managers, and academic managers. And the good news that we have for you is that we have a 20% scholarship that we be offering during this time, that is July and August registration. So for anyone who has joined the webinar and will be registering the course with us, we'll be giving a 20% discount for them. So just to mention various courses that we have courses like water, sanitation and hygiene. We have monitoring and evaluation, project planning and management, operations and supply chain management, procurement and supply chain management, just to mention a few. So we have more courses that you can visit our website and navigate through. So for this and other courses, we have also our YouTube channel. You can visit and go through them.
Because I didn't find any photos around
Just like,
this.
for example, this
So we are happy to announce to you that we have trained participants from all over the world, and this has been we have done this through our courses that we have just mentioned.
yeah, it's not because he put it right. And
So
empty
to
space.
register with
The
us,
other one, he put it left,
you can
empty
visit
space.
our website, or you can send an email through info@strategianetherlands.nl or workshop@strategianetherlands.nl.
But that is what I said. That's what.
Thank you very much, and we appreciate each and everyone who has joined us today.
Simple.
Thank you so
Just
much.
go through it. You are not asking me that. Do you provide a picture? Do you not
Thank
provide
Sorry,
it?
host,
I'm just
please
asking
mute.
you. Check.
There is someone in the background. Please
If they
mute.
don't have, then we now say, okay,
Ernest,
reshuffle it and put it side by side. At least we carry this one,
Campbell,
put
we
it on
can
the
hear
side.
you.
Carry this other one, put so that you don't put.
So thank you so
just
much.
like you take
Doreen,
this.
you can stop sharing.
You divided
We
it.
have come to the end of our webinar this morning, this afternoon, depending on where you are. So for more information, you can reach us out through the website. Otherwise, have a lovely day. Thank you so much for joining.
Are you interested in building a career in the development and humanitarian sector? Then, Strategia Netherlands is the best option for you. We offer training solutions to the United Nations, governments, NGOs and other development organizations worldwide. Make your online application now for Diploma in Monitoring and Evaluation, Diploma in Grant Management, Diploma in Conflict Management, Diploma in Disaster Management, Diploma in Water, Sanitation and Hygiene, and many more. The cost for diploma courses is 800 euros, while postgraduate courses cost 1,200 euros. Visit www.strategianetherlands.nl for more information.